Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into why our schools seem to be struggling to teach our children in this digital age. Let's get right into it.
I'm excited about this discussion. What's the core issue we're looking at here?
Well, it really starts with our educational system, which was originally designed way back in the Industrial Revolution. It was built to, produce obedient workers with a strong emphasis on rote memorization and standardized testing. That really set the stage for today's challenges.
Right, and that means the system hasn't evolved to foster skills like critical thinking and digital literacy, correct?
Exactly. And the evidence of this struggle is in the declining test scores. For instance, data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress shows that in 2022, reading scores for 9-year-olds dropped by 5 points and math scores by 7 points, compared to 2020. For 13-year-olds, reading was down by 4 points and math by 9 points.
Yep, that's
Especially
pretty
considering
striking.
these trends started before COVID-19 even shook things up.
So it seems like a symptom of much deeper systemic issues rather than just temporary bumps caused by the pandemic.
Right. The system itself is outdated. Traditional teaching methods, like simply lecturing and expecting memorization, don't really engage students in a way that helps them develop the critical skills needed in today's ever-changing world. The gap between what's taught and what's needed today is getting wider.
So what alternatives do we have? How do we get past this routine, one-size-fits-all approach?
There's a shift happening towards interactive and adaptive methods. Think about it's like using a word wall where students interact with words visually, engaging with concepts rather than just memorizing them. These methods help build creativity, problem solving, and even digital literacy.
Right?
They really break the monotonous cycle.
I love that analogy. And isn't there a lot of buzz around AI in education these days?
Absolutely. AI-powered tools like Dreambox and Smart Sparrow offer personalized learning experiences. They adapt lessons to each student's pace and needs, leading to improvements in outcomes. For instance, a study in India showed that these tools bumped up reading comprehension by anywhere from 20 to 40%. Especially when you consider
That's pretty
how
amazing.
critical this is for student engagement.
But here's a question. With all this technology assisting learning, isn't there a risk that we might over-rely on it and possibly erode traditional critical thinking skills?
That, I agree, is a valid concern. It's definitely a balancing act. AI shouldn't replace human interaction, but rather complement it. It's like having a personalized tutor that works alongside the teacher, providing extra support where needed. Ensuring that the human touch remains essential in the learning process.
Exactly. And that brings up another issue, teacher training. Integrating these new methods effectively means teachers need to be comfortable with technology and, able to blend it with traditional teaching methods.
Right. And that's one of the hurdles. Schools often have insufficient funding and outdated curricula that make such training hard to implement. Without proper investment in teacher development, even the best AI tools can't perform at their full potential.
True.
We need systemic change here.
It's troubling that, on top of that, classrooms are getting more overcrowded, which makes it even tougher to individualize instruction.
Exactly. Overcrowded classrooms compound the issue, leaving little room for the kind of interactive, adaptive learning we're talking about. The standardized test declines we saw earlier don't just appear out of nowhere, they're a direct result of these limitations. The numbers speak for
Agreed.
themselves.
Now, considering all this, how do you see AI fitting into the picture in a balanced way?
Well, AI can certainly help by streamlining administrative tasks, like grading and scheduling, so that teachers can focus more on actual instruction. It's about creating systems that provide immediate, personalized feedback to students while easing the workload on educators. Ideally, this frees up teachers to engage more directly with their students.
And with adaptive platforms, the idea is that each student can basically have their own tailored curriculum, addressing their individual strengths and weaknesses.
Precisely. It's also about overcoming the one-size-fits-all approach that hasn't served us well for over a century. By integrating AI thoughtfully, we can start to fix these systemic issues. But it has
Yes.
to be handled with care.
Speaking of care, how do we deal with the concerns over data privacy? With AI systems needing lots of data to function, isn't that a significant risk?
Oh, absolutely. Data privacy is a huge issue. We must implement strict policies to ensure that student data isn't misused. At the same time, we need robust teacher training programs to help educators use these tools effectively.
Right.
Without that, even the most advanced systems could backfire.
And what about those legacy systems in many schools? They were designed for an entirely different era. How can we realistically transition to something so modern?
That's a great point. The challenge isn't just about technology, it's about overhauling an entire mindset. The current infrastructure is so rooted in an industrial era approach that moving forward requires systemic reform, updated curricula, better funding, and a genuine willingness to invest in modern teaching methods. It's a massive but necessary transformation.
It almost feels like we're talking about two separate worlds. One that's stuck in the past and one that's racing toward the future.
Exactly. And that dissonance is exactly why the current model struggles. Schools need to bridge the gap between outdated methods and the demands of the 21st century. It's about creating an environment where students, teachers, and even technology can all work together seamlessly.
So if we take the case study from India where AI tools improved reading scores significantly, what can we learn from that?
Well, that case study shows that when AI is integrated carefully, with thorough teacher training and proper support systems, it can have a dramatic impact. It wasn't just about dropping technology into classrooms. It was a comprehensive overhaul that included planning for the teacher's role and the student's emotional response. That holistic approach is really key.
But let's not forget, there's also a criticism levied at these tech solutions. If we push too hard on AI and interactive methods, might we risk losing traditional skills that are still valuable?
That's a fair critique. While AI can personalize and modernize learning, we have to be careful not to let it completely overshadow fundamental skills like critical thinking and effective communication. It's all about balance. We need the best of both worlds.
And achieving that balance begins with updating the curriculum itself, right? Incorporating digital literacy, problem solving, and creativity alongside core subjects.
Absolutely. We have to overhaul our teaching practices, not just throw in AI for the sake of it, but to actually enhance the learning process. Interactive methods like group exercises and hands-on activities, such as the word wall technique, help in making learning more engaging. That's what really makes a difference.
In the end, it all comes down to thoughtful integration. If we can support teachers, protect data privacy, and update legacy systems, then AI can indeed be a revolutionary tool for modern education.
Exactly. It's like building a bridge from the past to the future. The key is in recognizing that while our educational roots are deep in the 19th century, the needs of today's students require us to mix tradition with innovation, ensuring every child is prepared for a digital future without losing the essence of human connection and critical thinking.
It's a complex challenge, but if we can navigate these issues, teacher training, funding, data privacy, and updated curricula, then maybe our schools will finally start to truly teach our children the skills they need to thrive.
That's the hope. The discussion isn't just about pinpointing problems. It's about lighting the way forward. By embracing adaptive methods and AI tools, and by reinforcing them with solid teacher training, we can create an education system that's as dynamic as the generations it serves. That dynamic synergy is what we're aiming for.
And that, in a nutshell, is where the promise of modern education lies. A careful, balanced, and innovative integration that can revitalize a system long overdue for change.
Exactly. Our educational future depends on it. Thanks for this engaging discussion, and here's to hoping that these ideas spark some real, meaningful reform.
Absolutely. It's been a super insightful conversation. Cheers to a bright future for education.